This video is related to the charge, various types of charge, its properties. First of all, we should know what is charge, where does the charge comes from. So for that we know that all the matter is made up of atoms. Atoms is further made up of protons, neutrons and electrons. Out of these three particles, protons and electrons are charged. Protons have positive charge while electrons have negative charge. The value of the charge on both them is 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19 coulomb. So since there are two charged particles in an atom, so if we want to produce a charge in an atom, we will either have to remove or add electron, or we will either have to remove or add proton. But it is very difficult to remove or add proton because the protons are bound inside the nucleus with a very strong force which is known as the nuclear force. In fact, this nuclear force is the strongest force known as nature. And remember, this nuclear force is always attractive. This does not depend upon the nature of the charge. That is why between two protons it is also attractive. Now, if you want to produce charge in an atom, so the easy way to produce the charge in an atom will be to remove or add electron, because it is comparatively very easy to remove electron rather than a proton. Now when an atom loses electron, what will happen? The number of protons will remain the same, but the number of electrons will decrease by 1. So the atom will become positively charged. On the other hand, when the atom gains an electron, then the number of electrons will become more than the number of protons. So the net charge on the atom will be negative and it will become negatively charged. So we should remember that there are two types of charges, positive charge and negative charge. Now, charge is always a scalar quantity to remember. So whenever we will do numericals on the charge related to charge, we will have to write positive or negative sign before the value of charge. Say if the charge on the body is positive 10 coulomb, we will have to write plus sign. If the charge on the body is negative 10 coulomb, we will have to write minus 10 coulomb. And the unit in which charge is measured is coulomb. Always remember the unit of charge is coulomb. So the most important topic of this video is the properties of charge. There are three main properties of charge. First of all, charge is additive. The second, charge is quantized, and this property is known as quantization of charge. And the third property of charge is that charge is always conserved. The first property is additive. When we say that the charge is additive, we mean that whenever we calculate the total charge on a body, we will have to add the total charges in an algebraic way, the simple algebraic way. For example, if there are three charges, say plus 10 coulomb, plus 10 coulomb and minus 10 coulomb, then the total charge will become the simple algebraic sum of these. So the total charge will become plus 10, plus 10, minus 10. So 10 plus 10 will become 20 and 20 minus 10 will become 10. So the total charge on the body will be plus 10 coulomb. So this property is known as the additive property. That is, the charge can be added simply in an algebraic manner. Then the second quantity is the second property is the quantization of charge. By quantization, what do we mean? By quantization we mean that there exists a certain minimum value of the charge below which the charge is not possible. This is the minimum possible charge, and all the bodies in the universe will contain a charge which will be an integral multiple of this charge. And this charge is the charge carried by an electron, whose value is 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19 coulomb. Now, if we want to calculate the total charge on the body and say we are denoting it by Q. Now, if N represents the number of electrons that the body is containing and small e is denoting the charge on the electron, which is 1.6 into 10 power minus 19 coulomb, then the total charge on the body will become Q is equal to N into E. So with the help of this formula, we can calculate the total charge on the body. I give you any value of charge and I say whether this charge is possible or not. So what we can do, we can apply this formula Q is equal to Ne, and we can calculate the value of N because Q will be given to us. E we know is 1.6 into 10 power minus 19 coulomb. We will calculate the value of N. If this value of N comes to be a whole number, that is it comes out to 1, 2, 3, 4, it should not come in decimal, then that particular value of charge will be possible. Otherwise, that charge is not possible in universe. Then the third property is conservation of charge. By conservation of charge, we mean the charge can neither be created nor be destroyed. Charge can only be transformed from one body to another body. That means if one body is losing electron, that electron which will be lost by one body, that will be gained by the other body. Always remember one property of charge, that like charges always repel each other and unlike charges attract each other. By like charges, we mean same type of charges. So positive or negative charges will be said to be like charges. Negative charges will be again said to be like charges. And if we have one positive charge and other negative charge, they will become unlike charges. So the basic property of charge is that like charges always repel each other and unlike charges always attract each other. This was about the properties of charges.